Hello, welcome to the Day 4 Fat Jockey Cheltenham 2022 podcast preview thing. And we're going to get straight into it again with the Triumph Hurdle. So, Jono, kick us off. Who do you like in the Triumph?
Yep, nice and easy for me. Vauban. I was really taken by Pied Piper initially when he won at the track. I thought I think that's your Triumph winner. But yeah, since then Vauban and just hearing about the more about the horse, how they've kind of campaigned him. Obviously, they were pretty much going to hold him back for next year for the Supreme Horse. But he's done what he's done, and just the kind of confidence from Willie Mullins after Dublin Racing Festival. I think it's something along the lines of, you've got to be a very, very good horse to get past this one. Granted, the race looks like it's probably got some very good horses in it. But yeah, I would take Vauban to reverse the former Pied Piper. He may well have done it on debut if he had jumped the last well. And Davy Russell did a very good job of kind of blocking Townend's path as well that day. I think Vauban looks a serious horse actually, and I think the word coming out of the yard backs it up. So he's the one for me.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I've backed Vauban already for next year's Champion Hurdle after Scooby put it up. And you mentioned there the reason that Vauban, they haven't held him back for next year's Supreme. That's because next year's Supreme winner is El Ate Tomp. After he places in this, and he places again in Ireland in a Grade 1, and then has another summer, and then he wins the Supreme next year. But I love Pied Piper, to be fair. He did beat Vauban a little bit luckily, perhaps, but then he's gone to Cheltenham and he's got that experience now, and he's just obliterated anything British that would turn up. They may have ran below form and stuff, but it doesn't matter enough to me. You can't be backing things like Porticello or Night Salute or Teddy Blue or Dr. Parnassus when Pied Piper's just absolutely walloped them on the bridle. It was the most, I was giddy about it. In the same way I was giddy when Beltor won the Adonis one year, which didn't pay off. But just when they win so easily and so stylishly, you've got to take note. But if I was forced to back between the two, I'd probably back at 5-2 Pied Piper or 7-4 Vauban. I'd probably go with Pied Piper. However, I have backed Vauban to win next year's Champion Hurdle, so I hope that wins. I suppose that's where I'm at with it. And yeah, El Ate Tomp, I assume, will run well, not win, and then run well in another Grade 1, and then be a massive, massive player in the novice hurdles next season.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to back against Pied Piper after how he won the last time. His breeding says better on better ground, although his flat wins were on heavy ground. That's, of course, it was heavy when he beat Vauban, although, like you say, he probably shouldn't have won that race. Elliot, was said that did no work with him, so they knew he'd come on, and of course that's what happened at Cheltenham. But the talk around Vauban is pretty compelling as well. So it's a, I don't want to talk anymore. You've said it all, Kev, really. I think I might, depends on the prices. If I get the right price on Pied Piper, I'll probably just go that way. But I could leave it alone as well. Not quite sure.
Yeah, Vauban for me too. There's no secret in terms of the high regard they hold him in. That said, there's no secret they hold Pied Piper in too. So, it's unusual for the Willie Mullins stable to be that enthusiastic about a juvenile in this race. It's cool. It's got the great record, isn't it? And the point you make, Kev, about Pied Piper having been over and got that course experience is a good one. And with the two of them being close, who knows? Maybe that is the difference between the two of them. But I suspect Vauban is just fundamentally the better horse of the two, and I expect him to win.
Does anyone think there's anything to Gordon Elliott saying that Phil Dore is the better of the two? I know last year he said Zanahiyr was better than Quilixios, and then Quilixios obviously won the champion hurdle, but I think we'd all agree time has told that he was probably right in that assessment. So does anyone give Phil Dore a chance at best price 6-1?
What I would say is he said that they considered putting Phil Dore in the Boodles. If they thought Phil Dore was better than Pied Piper, they wouldn't have considered putting him in the Boodles.
Fair play. Okay. So, on to Paul, while you're talking, do you want to give us your selection for the county hurdle? And then we'll move on.
I will. I've been sweet on West Cork for a long time. That Greatwood form stands up very often. Sometimes you see, Greatwood horse come out the Greatwood and contest the champion hurdle. It's not for some time, admittedly, but he's been looked after. He's been held back. He did have an overreach, which was the reason that he had time off initially. But he has been deliberately kept fresh for this race. He is a very nice horse, but he's not the only horse I like. There are one or two others. State Man's chance would be obvious if he did come here. There are a couple that I like each way. One that I'm not going to mention because that's clearly going to be left to somebody else. Cormier is attempting to do the double from the Moor Battle. He ran in West Cork's Greatwood, made a really bad mistake.
You put up the 1, 2, 3 for the Moor Battle, didn't you, Paul, on the forum?
Yeah, I did indeed.
I was too late to see it, but yeah, when I came back, I was like, sir.
I did indeed. Nobody bothered mentioning it though. So anyway, don't do it for the glory. Do it for the returns. So Cormier, I think, even with the £5 excess, I think will run a big race. As I say, I think he would have gone close without that mistake in the Greatwood. He's obviously gone up since then. The last one that interests me is Tritonic of Alan King's. I think he's actually quite a smart horse, and I think he's potentially a well-handicapped smart horse. And I think a fast run, quicker ground, county hurdle will bring out the absolute best in him. And there's one more that I really like as well, but we'll let somebody else talk about him.
That's fine. Johnny, have you got any that you fancy?
No, not massive. It's an obvious one. State Man, the surprise package we'll touch on. But to be honest, the Friday handicaps right now, I wait for kind of the declarations to really have a strong view.
Okie dokie. The one I was going to mention, wasn't, and I was Colonel Mustard, and this is that I did mention on a podcast earlier on that I'd stolen something from the odds checker one. Which was Rory Delarkey and Andy Holding. They just mentioned so Colonel Mustard, second season novice, good chance with his rating, been behind Sir Gerhard, placed in grade races behind Sir Gerhard and John Bon. And the point they made, which was the one I forgot before, and it wasn't relevant, but is for this, is that despite him not being a great jumper, the new course will really suit him rather than hinder him, just because there's only one hurdle in the last 7,000 miles, and when the business end of the race is going on, there's no hurdles to jump as well. So I thought, when I listened to that, I was like, yeah, that's a really, really interesting point. He's only 12-1, but he's the kind of horse that I would look at in related doubles with perhaps a Gerhard or John Bon or something like that, where if they won, I'd fancy him more. Probably wouldn't. Well, I definitely wouldn't back him at 12-1 outright, but I would have a look at certainly like Sir Gerhard at 4-5, doubled with in a scumbag each way. That's the kind of bet that I would like. But let's move on to discussing everyone's favourite horse for the county hurdle. Paul, let us know. Let us know. Well, tell us about this weekend. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, it was a dream come true to go. We all went down to Sandown yesterday. Bit concerned about the rain, so the ground was softer than we would have wanted, ideally. But the horse looked great. I mean, I was worried about how it had travelled across. So I don't know if I told you guys, but Peter sometimes uses this Reiki massage person, Siobhan, and she lives about 200 or 300 miles away. She comes to see the horses, and you can be skeptical. But she once treated one of the horses by mistake, and Peter said, "What's happening to that horse?" Because it completely turned the horse around. So after that, we'll let her touch the horses and do whatever, or not touch them, more to the point. So she does this from a distance. So I never know what to ask her. So I asked her before racing. I said, "Have you connected with Surprise Package?" She says, "Oh yes." And she wrote to me and said, "Yes, last night, confident, telling himself, I can do it, plucky boy." So she's completely mad. But anyway, that gave us a bit more confidence. And the horse actually looked so relaxed in the parade ring. It was, I'm very pleased to get James Best, and thank you to a few people on this call for the suggestion. I think we all came to the unanimous conclusion that it was a good choice. He was a bit further out of the ground than I expected to start with, to be quite honest, the first half mile. And but once he came around that last bend and it all fanned out and they all sort of leveled up, and he just wasn't moving. I've watched it 50 times since, to be quite honest, and it was never going to lose. And he does find something, and he came up the hill so well. And you'd like to think he's taken nothing out of him. So he stayed in Sandown last night. He went to Cheltenham this morning. Got a couple of photos of him at Cheltenham. He looks fantastic. Peter says he looks in great form. He's happy with him. He's not with him. He's back in Ireland right now. He's going over tomorrow morning. We'll decide where we are probably by Tuesday morning. But fingers crossed, we'll be taking advantage of just a £5 weight rise, which puts us nicely in for the county. Number 23 at the moment, I think we are, and looking good. So I'm not looking at any other horse. I'm just hoping we get there on Friday. And I've always said Cheltenham, I think it's a 2.25 mile horse. A good run race. Sandown's a tough enough course. 2 mile, 1 furlong around Cheltenham, I think, is ideal for him. So always did think that way. That's why we wanted to get him into the race. So if anything, we're more confident now than we were before, because this is the course we felt, and this is a distance and race we felt would be best for him. So very hopeful.
Have you got a jockey lined up for the county on?
Well, I'm expecting Kevin Sexton to be back riding this week, and I think we'll stay loyal with Kevin, that being the case. Mm-hmm. But the irony is he's won twice now in big races, and each time he's been ridden by someone else, Dara O'Keefe, and now James Bowen. So not looking good for Kevin. So he's got to pull it out. There's one more chance to pull it out on Friday.
He's not be feeling any pressure at all, is he?
No pressure at all.
Did I know obviously you were there? Like I saw, I didn't see like interviews after, but I saw when I saw it was like your side profile.
Yeah.
When you were chatting to James Bowen after he'd come in, but when Matt Chapman spoke to James Bowen on the way in, James just straight away quipped, well, the English are going to struggle, or the British are going to struggle next week in the handicaps, or something like that. So what do you think about that?
Oh, no, based on that, you'd say so, wouldn't you? 1 out of 22 and wins like that, I know I'm biased, but you'd have to come to that conclusion. And Nick Luck was saying the same. And I got interviewed by Nick Luck. I got interviewed by Ollie Bell, and it's also on the Nick Luck's program this morning as well. So it was pretty cool. The whole thing's cool.
Happy day. So for any fat jockeys watching this, if you don't back Surprise Package, best prize 8-1, then consider yourself banned from the forum.
And the other thing, 20-1 was a gift of the prize.
Wasn't it? That was unbelievable.
I didn't get the best odds guaranteed, and I'm sat with my 14s like a chump.
Yeah, I took 16s each way, then I went in again at 18s, and I thought there's no way it's going to go up from 16s, no way it's going to go from 18s. It's crazy.
I don't know what they were watching when they left it at that price.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I'm just really pleased for you, Paul. There's just no better feeling than the feeling you had yesterday.
No, not at all. I tell you, if you do see any of the interviews, I was hoarse. My voice was
yeah. Well, you had your Mick Fitzgerald moment.
Yeah, there you go. Don't tell my wife.
I haven't seen it. I'm part involved in a horse, and so far I've had 3 runs, pull up, and pull up. So not quite the same. Certainly no Jeffrey's Cross, eh? Okay, amazing, fantastic stuff. So what's the next race? It's the oh my god, I'm going to go last here because we all know what's happening. It's the Albert Bartlett.
Your ears are going to bleed. You mean? Just
make it quick.
Yeah, make it quick, guys, because there's no point you guys saying what you're going to say.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first, Paul. Yeah.
I'll go first. So look, I'm going to say exactly what Kev's about to say later. So hopefully he'll keep the pitch down of his voice. I think Ginto will win this. I think it's the perfect race for him. It always was. I'm glad they ditched the plan to go to the Ballymore. I think if they'd have bumped into Sir Gerard, they'd have got a bit of a tanking. So he's in the right race. I think he wins this. There are dangers, don't get me wrong. Hillcrest has been a talking horse for some time. I think the price has probably gone on him now compared to how I feel about him. I think the same is true of Bardenstown Lad as well, actually. I like them both. I think they both have chances, but I think I wouldn't be backing them at the prices they are now. There's a couple of outsiders that interest me. Ballygriffin Cottage, who was actually, when Jeff first went to Dan's stable, Ballygriffin Cottage was his work partner. So that was the horse that Jeff was working in when he was settling in, when he was settling in. Nice horse, the right kind of horse for this race, actually. Proper stayer. He's not one that's going to do anything flashy at all, but just a really good, honest horse that has got a bright future. The one that I like at probably a bigger price is the other John O'Connell horse, Marla Mission. He's a bit of a forgotten horse. He's not been near a racecourse for a while, I don't think. I think he's one of those that John O'Connell sort of left off for proper summer ground. The kind that he likes and the kind he does really well with. Because of that, nobody's really been looking at him. I think he popped him in something a month and a half ago. But he's one. No, I'm talking complete rubbish. I've got him the form completely mixed up. He has been running in, but he's completely unexposed. So I think he's one to perhaps have a look at. He's been travelling him over here for a couple of wins. Low key, but he's been winning races well. So I think he's probably a bit of value and against his own stablemate, actually.
Yeah, so I'll go. I don't disagree with any of that. I think I'm surprised Good Time Johnny's being supplemented. He didn't run well at Cheltenham before. I'm not sure. Eric Bloodaxe would have to turn around the DRF form significantly. Bardenstown Lad, absolutely, but this is a slightly different class of race. So question mark, is again quite good enough? Couldn't be having Classic Getaway and what I've seen. Hillcrest, I'm deciding not to back any horse who won at either Ascot at Haydock that weekend when Hillcrest won. That was terrible ground, and I think it's going to be really tough to come out and compete at the highest level after that. So that's not going to happen for me. And Journey With Me, I don't think it's an absolute stayer. I think if anything, I know other people disagree, but I don't see it as a stayer. Milella Kakuna, I think, got away with it a little bit at Dublin Racing Festival, but I think could run a very respectable race, and Chantrose probably won't be soft enough for it. Staghorn wouldn't rule it out, and Ramillies, if it's ever as good as Willie Mullin thinks it is, then he's going to have to do really well in this race. But I think, I'd love to see Ginto win. It's not the race he should be in, of course, Kev, but we'll hopefully he does it for you.
Ginto can't win, can he? He can't cope if he wins. Please no. I said obviously Hillcrest on one of our last pods. His price is short now, given I agree with you, Paul. The ground is a little bit of a concern. He won as easy as you like, but very rarely will a horse. It still takes it out more than it looks quite often on that kind of ground. I do think he's got a serious chance. Yeah, it kind of pains me to say that. I think Ginto probably does win. I couldn't see him winning the Ballymore at all. I think he would have placed at best. This is his race.
As if that's bad.
I'll win money on it, but I just can't cope with you. But what I would say is, it touched upon briefly. Eric Bloodaxe ran no race at the Dublin Racing Festival, but did win the Limerick race, which is such a good pointer for this, the Albert Bartlett. You could say maybe he needs the heavy ground, but Limerick at that time of year is always as testing ground as you can get, and it year upon year horses come out of it and win well in the Albert Bartlett. Just right off the Dublin Racing Festival, I mean, he was beaten 70 odd lengths. I think at the price is now 25 to 1, and I think he'll actually get bigger. I wouldn't rush into that. I think you could probably maybe get 33s plus. Ginto obviously put him in his place over 2 mile 4, but he still did finish second, and it might just be one of those horses where given last time and the fact Ginto beat him fairly convincingly, it's one of those ones that the market just go, Eric Bloodaxe, can't be having him, but actually he may well fill the places. So yeah, I'd love to say Hillcrest beats Ginto, but I think Kev might have a very big smile on his face. Pains me to say it, and yeah, Eric Bloodaxe at a nice each way price.
I think the pitch of his voice will break windows.
Oh,
love Eric Bloodaxe. I still definitely agree with you. He's with extra places, big price, people will dismiss him. Wouldn't rule him out. Maybe a little each way double with Freedom to Dream in the pipe.
done. Move on. Next race, Gold Cup. That's your tip.
Bardenstown Lad, I think we've all backed. He's now 8 to 1. I couldn't believe that when I had a look. That is probably the price we all thought he should be, but I thought I'd be able to come on this and tip him each way. I absolutely love Hillcrest. I absolutely love him. When you put him up on that podcast at 14 to 1, I had a little bit there, and then he won, and I fell in love with him. I thought he was absolutely sensational. He was 7 to 1, and I started smashing him up. At that point, obviously, thought Ginto was going to the Ballymore. I think Hillcrest is an absolute machine of a horse. I absolutely love him. I've read that Henry Daly, straight after that race, got on the phone to Yogi Bresner about his jumping straight away. They've worked on that. They said basically if they can improve, if he only makes one mistake, they fancy it. If he makes 3, then he'll be in trouble. But there's stuff they can work on, something about his back end moving too high or something like that. But the fact they've looked at that and realised it's an issue and trying to do something about it already, I don't know how quick these things work or whether it's made up or not, to be honest. But I think Hillcrest is an absolute machine going forward. I'll be backing him in chases, staying chases going forward. I'll be backing him to win nationals and all kinds of things. I absolutely love him.
So you're backing Hillcrest to win and Ginto each way in this thing, yeah?
But Ginto wins all. I cannot wait. I don't want to be too smug about it now in case he doesn't win, but when he does win, I'm going to go back. And clip up what I said about Ginto when you two slammed me down saying that he won't win. When I put him up for this at 25 to 1, me and my legion of followers, which I reckon is about 2 people. I think a legion's supposed to be in the thousands, but I think it's 2. I think I've got 2 fans. But we're buzzing. I mean, I'm on it. I'm on any race. I don't mind after timing. my forum, innit? But I'm on any race. I'm on him at massive prices here. Him going to the Ballymore for me was I was having to he's most likely and best race for him to run is here, and the reason he wasn't was Hollow Games, I think. And I've put up the Ginto and the Hollow Games in the pipe double. I think that's a stonking bet as well. But 11-4 still, just back it. He wins. Ginto wins all. Free money, guys. All that money you won at the weekend, Paul.
Yeah. Okay.
Slam it on. Slam it on and buy Ginto. That's what you need to do. He's winning this. Then he's going to win the RSA next year. Then he's going to win the Gold Cup. Ginto wins all. It's too easy.
I might just do the related treble.
Yeah, why not? Now, to be fair, Ginto, massive chance. I don't think Journey with Me is going to run. Manila Kakuna, if he's the biggest danger, then it's a 2-horse race, this, for me. I do like Barnstown Lad. Some of the outsiders have got chances, but I'd be if Ginto or Hillcrest don't win this, I'll be horrified, because I absolutely love both of them. I think they're both amazing. And both proper staying chasers as well going forward. It's the kind of race where I'm going to be watching this, and whoever wins, whichever one of them wins, I think I'm going to be in love with for next year. All next year's podcasts are going to be me banging on about whichever one of these wins. I'll be so excited. I'll definitely be looking at their prices for next year as well before we get there. I can't wait. Race of the week, this. The two best.
I think you won't get a price before probably. I think you need to back the winner of this if the market's right and it's Ginto Hillcrest is at the forefront of the market. The winner will be 5-1 for the RSA.
Yeah, you'd hope for it used to be double figure stuff like that, didn't it? I mean, I wouldn't back at 5-1. That's ludicrous, isn't it? But I don't know. I can't wait though, guys. I can't wait to just clip it up. I can't wait to even find the podcast it was on. Oh no, Hollow Games.
Cool, I can't wait to get to the Gold Cup.
Yeah, come on.
Go on then. Kick us off.
Will do. Okay, look, I think for me, I think it's a 3-horse race, and I don't include a Plutard, actually. I think it is between Galvin, Manila Indo, and Protectorat. I'm probably just edging towards Galvin. I think a Gold Cup will suit him a lot. We know he acts around Cheltenham. I think the way the race will run, David Russell can just ride his own race and put him into it when he wants to, really. I think I prefer Manila Indo on the quicker ground. We'd like to get next Friday. I actually think he is ground dependent, funnily enough. I think it's one of those things that people don't really pick up on, but I think he is definitely a better horse on better ground. I like Protectorat. He's got that nice second season chaser profile. Dan Skelton loves him, by the way. Thinks he has a really good chance, and bear in mind he knows what a Gold Cup winner looks like, because he was Nichols as assistant trainer when Cato and Denman were strutting this stuff. So
can I just ask you, Paul? Are there any horses that Skelton has that he doesn't really like?
Yeah, quite a few. But look, the horse he's sending to Cheltenham, he's sending with chances, but he does like the chance of Protectorat in the Gold Cup.
Like Nichols fancies all his horses, Skelton fancies all his.
Yeah, Nichols has won a few as well.
Yeah, but trainer fancies his own horse isn't a thing.
Well, it's amazing how Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott win so many races, isn't it?
Yeah, but they don't. It's not the same, is it?
Did Peter fancy surprise package of the weekend?
Well, he did, yeah. But has Peter ever backed his own horses and them not win? Do you know what I mean? I'm not having that. I'm not having that as a solid bit of reasoning. You're better than that.
He fancied surprise package all the way up to Wednesday night.
Yeah, exactly.
As he got closer and closer, he got less and less confident.
I imagine Dan will be doing exactly the same. But look, he shows an awful lot at home. He's been kept fresh with us as well. You don't waste races all season if you don't think you've got the right horse. Whether it turns out to be, who knows? But they know which ones the dangers are, and they think they're going there with a genuine chance.
He's certainly the most unexposed, isn't he? Of the British. Like I've had a dabble in the. I think Sky had a without the British. No, not without the British. With just British only horses, and I think I write Santini, and then you've got Royal Pagaille, Chantry House, and Protectorat. And I personally didn't fancy Protectorat as the short price favourite there. I ended up going with the two outsiders of the bunch, but I'm not a Chantry House fan, as you guys know. Royal Pagaille to me is ground dependent, so I thought, well, I'll chance Santini, who, I mean, let's face it, Santini's got no chance of winning a Gold Cup, and neither is I, right? Like, they're more likely to be pulled up, but would you fancy Protectorat in that market? Because I think he was like 7-4 as the best of the British, and that given what Sky have done today after declarations, they'll probably put a market up where it's like a British only running. So, would you fancy in them?
Yeah, I certainly fancy to beat the rest of the British horses. I obviously want to see the price, and if it's a decent price, then I'd back it.
What price what price would you want? Like, if it's a 5-runner race in the Gold Cup, yeah,
7-4 would be a great price, wouldn't it? I don't think he's got a whole lot to beat either.
No, fair play. Yeah, it's definitely worth having a look at them. Paul, what about you? Oh, sorry, Johnny. Go on.
Paul, go ahead.
So, A Plus Tard, I am a little bit concerned about the distances. He just wasn't impressive to my mind last year. I thought he was going to beat Minello Indo, particularly after he won the 2.5 mile handicap chase. I keep going back to that. So scooted away on the old course. The new course is so much more stamina laden. I actually think it could be a stamina issue with A Plus Tard. Minello Indo, I mean, obviously his Cheltenham record is fantastic, but you a bit of a leap of faith, I think, this year, to be quite honest, based on how it's been running. The most consistent horse, and I'm surprised I say this because if you'd asked me a year and a half ago, there's no way I would be saying Galvin would be winning any Gold Cup anywhere. But the horse has done nothing but improve. It's very consistent, definitely will stay. Obviously a festival winner as well, over 4 miles or 3 miles, 6 furlongs, I guess. So that's where I'm netting out. I think Galvin is probably getting to be a good bet at the moment. Not a great price, but I think good bet in terms of picking a winner for the race.
Yeah, he'd be my pick as well. Paul, like Galvin 72. I've got a massive thank you to Norton's Coin 200. He's one of the good guys on the forum. Like, the start, I've definitely already said this, so I'll keep it quick. But start of the season, I put a post out there saying that it's pretty much laughable to put Galvin up because he's just not got the class for this race, and he took the time to put one of his brilliant cases forward, and I read it, and when you're wrong, you're wrong, and I was just like, yeah, fair play, you've got me, I will back him, and he tipped him at 40-1, and I backed him, and he's my best winner in the race, and I'd still be backing him if I had one bet now. It'd be Galvin at 7-2 over anything else in the field. So absolutely superb work. That's what the forum's all about. And so thanks to the big guy. And
plenty of horses haven't had the class to win this race. You can just run them up, can't you? Lord Windermere, Caldor,
we don't need to go into all the reasons I was wrong. What I'm saying is, someone else was right, and I admitted my mistake.
We can spend as much time on when you were wrong as when you were right.
Over the summer, we'll do a podcast on all the times I was wrong, if you like, and we'll probably break the world record. It'll be a 4.5-hour podcast. But no, it was superb. It's what it's all about. It's absolutely what it's all about, and that's why I love it so much. And the only other horse I will mention, as it's my time to speak, is Tornado Flyer. Obviously, Willie's highest rated bumper winner of all time. I've been saying that for years and years and years as a stat. He's won a King George and he's double figures. So he's clearly talented. he's one of the most unexposed in this race. Like, if I had to have an each way bet, I'd be picking Tornado Flyer at 12. Like, Chantry House is 16-1. Do me a favour. Like, there's absolutely no chance Chantry House is a better horse than Tornado Flyer. Not having it. Albion Photo has not been mentioned for ages and ages. We all put him up at 20-1. He's now 10-1. Again, that's rock solid each way. I prefer Albion Photo 10s and Tornado Flyer 12s to Protector at 8s. Manila Indo's now short at 5s. And then you've got, I think, A Plutard and Galvin 7-2. Fair enough. Like, great. You can't really go wrong. They've obviously got chances, but yeah, for me, I'd go Tornado Flyer would be my each way bet, and Galvin would be my bet on the nose. Thanks to Richard.
Yeah, I can't believe A Plutard has been not been given more favourable mention, to be honest. I think probably the 1-2 in the Gold Cup will be a repeat of Leopardstown, Galvin, A Plutard. However, it will be reversed. I think 7-year-olds, well, it'll be 8 now, but 7 going on 8-year-old. I really like that profile for the Gold Cup as an age for an open chaser anyway. But yeah, if you look back at some of the old kind of previous run-ins, Albion Photo won the Gold Cup at 7, followed up at 8. Native River placed in the race at 7, won as an 8-year-old. Size and John won at 7, didn't get a chance to run at 8 years old, but did follow up. Punchestown won the John Durkin. Sir de Champs, second in the 7 years old. He again didn't get to follow up, but did follow up at Punchestown in the Gold Cup. So the whole kind of idea that maybe the race takes too much out of you, especially if you haven't won the race, I'm not really buying that. I think when you're young enough, you can overcome that. And I think certainly the way A Plutard, I know he, on an odds basis, disappointed last time, but smashed a Betfair Chase field. Now you can argue how strong that was, but the way he travelled and importantly the way he jumped, his jumping was probably his Achilles heel, probably throughout his chasing career. Actually, I mean, he's had a very good career, but he's just held him back from being the very kind of top class. I think jumping wise, again at Christmas, it's looked a lot more polished. I think you could argue that if he had jumped a couple of fences better in the Gold Cup last year, that might have made a difference. Henry de Bromhead as well wasn't quite on form over Christmas, and yeah, I think if you're just dismissing A Plutard because he didn't win the Gold Cup last year, it's mental, because you can't fancy Manila Indo, and the stat will say, well, previous winners can follow up. You're talking 1 1/4 lengths. A Plutard has age on his side. I mean, even if you look,
are you calling anyone who follows trends mental?
Yeah. put that as a little banner. Go on. No trends on this podcast. Yeah, I mean, even if you look, obviously Manila Indo, and I like Manila Indo. This isn't a slag on him. I think he probably comes third in the Gold Cup. He's kind of bounced back to form in the Dublin Racing Festival. But I know he improves massively for Cheltenham. But if you have a look, Janadil was beaten 6 3/4 lengths that day. He was beaten 7 lengths at Christmas, both over 3 miles. So he's ran a consistent 3-mile race for him both times. Now Manila Indo is suddenly back to form and has a massive chance again. I think A Plutard is right up there as well. Yeah, I love his age. I love his profile. I was disappointed at Christmas, but being beaten by Galvin isn't a massive negative to him, really. And yeah, I think
Well, it is when he beats him again.
when Galvin beats him,
Yeah, it'd be a massive negative when Galvin wallops him
wallops
again.
We'll see. We will see. And yeah, Aplutar, he never wins every race. He's got a patchy record. He generally only wins kind of once or twice a season. He's not someone that will get a string of ones by his name. And actually, yeah, he's still fairly lightly raced for a 3-year-old. He's had the 2-mile campaign early on. So again, it's another positive for me in the fact that he could potentially follow up because he's not your typical Gold Cup 3-miler coming back for another chance.
So 7 to 2 the pair. You're a Plutard.
That's the 1-2 in the Gold Cup. Aplutar, Galvin.
I would be Galvin of the two, but definitely not dismissive of the other. Paul and Paul, Gold Cup tip.
Yeah, Galvin for me.
Galvin.
Galvin. What would you? Shall we do? It's the Gold Cup. We'll do a 1, 2, 3, shall we?
Galvin, Protectorat, Manila Indo.
Jono?
Aplutar, Galvin, Manila Indo.
Okay. Galvin, Aplutar, and Album Photo.
I'll go Galvin, Manila Indo, Album Photo. I think. Happy days. Okay. Lovely. Worst race of the week, Foxhunters. Anyone got a strong opinion? I've actually got a tip in this. Unbelievably.
There's 2 or 3 that I think are worth considering in this for me. I think if Bob and Co jumps, I think he wins. I'm against the 2 at the front of the market. Billaway's had 2 chances already, albeit, it did seem to sharpen him up having the cheap pieces on last time. I'm definitely against Wing Leader. If he's been rated based on beating Billaway earlier in the season when Billaway didn't run his race. I think he's been massively overrated because of it. I think for a horse that's probably run 20 odd times over fences, maybe close to 30 times over fences, it's a bit of a stretch that he just all of a sudden improved by close to 20 pounds. So I'm strongly against him.
He has won his last 6 in a row. 1, 2, 3. He's won his last 5 in a row.
Yeah, but the 4 before that, he was beating nothing. So
Hey, he beat Ned Stark 30 lengths.
Yeah, I know. Ned Stark.
Hey, what year was that when Ned Stark was smashed up in the Close Brothers Novice Chase? It's got to be in the last 8 years because I remember it.
You don't think the ground makes a big difference to Wing Leader, Paul?
Hey, no, let him hang himself, Paul.
I do. But he's been turned over by the wrong horses on it too. He's definitely better on better ground. There's no doubt about that. But he started out as a very young pointer. I think he was 5 when he started out in points. So he's been around the block for quite a while now. And I'm not saying he's rubbish because he's not. He's clearly a good horse, but I don't think he's good enough. Is the point that I'm really making here. He's definitely had 25 to 30 points.
He has, mate. Let me read out these points. It's 3 U 7 1 1 1 2 2 5 2 2 2 2 1 1 1 1 1 U 2 5 F 2 2 1 1 1 1 1, and you're slating him. That is, imagine owning that. Jeffrey's Cross will do well to repeat that, won't he?
He will. But fortunately, there are 3 or 4 horses that I'm certain are better than him, so I'm actually quite comfortable with that.
Fair play.
Bob and Co is obviously risky in terms of his jumping. He's probably the most talented in the race, but he comes with a health warning. If he jumps around, I think he probably just wins. There are two less exposed ones in there, or less exposed hunter chasers in there, not necessarily by age. You've got Dubai Quest, who's been running up a really nice sequence with Tom Ellis. Tom Ellis is probably the best point-to-point trainer in the UK. It's his best horse right now, and I think he's probably going to be a bit of a star over the next couple of years. We get to find out on the Friday. The other one that is interesting is Cousin Pascal. Ran a big race in the Aintree Foxhunter last year. He's got form with the right horses. He beat Late Night Pass in the Aintree Foxhunter at a big price. I was amazed at the price he was. You go back through his form. You know, he beat Bob and Co in his prep for this. Although Bob and Co made a mistake as usual. So he's got the right kind of profile, the right kind of form. There's just a bit of a nagging doubt about whether he wants effectively the Gold Cup trip. I'm not sure he does. If he sees it out, then I think he's going to go very close. But he's a possible non-stayer. So that'd be my three.
Brilliant, thank you. Paul, you got any thoughts?
I really don't. I did look at Wing Leader because I thought the ground will have dried up by Friday, and that's the ground he much prefers. All of his defeats pretty much have been on heavy ground. It's very rarely run on anything in between, and even when he's lost, he's finished second on heavy ground. So I take Paul's point about the win over Billaway being overrated, but I do think the ground has a tremendous impact. So yeah, that's at this point. Although I'm going to change my mind, I know. At this point, probably Wing Leader.
Okay, well, I mean, I wouldn't want to put anyone away at all. The hunter chases are nowhere near something I know about, and I don't know about any normal races, so this wouldn't be for me. But Dubai Quest and Cousin Pascal, I've had people pass on good things to me about that Paul's just gone over. To be fair, Wing Leader I did like beating Billaway. Like, I know Billaway wasn't ready that day, but beaten quite easily 12 lengths, and I think you're just looking at the price between the two now, and just between those two, Billaway always finds a way to get beaten, so there's no way I'd be backing Billaway in the race. And then you just look at the most obvious horse that's beaten him. But the one that I was most interested in because of that is a horse that dead heated with Wing Leader, which was Mighty Stowaway. He's 33 to 1 in a place, and I read on the forum today that Jamie Codd has got the ride. So I think 33 to 1 for a horse that's dead heated with Wing Leader, who's a horse that's beaten Billaway, then I would chance that 33 to 1. I think that is the loosest case you'll get. I'm sure someone could pick that apart if they wanted to, but I like. I think 33 to 1 for a horse that's dead heated with a horse that's beaten Billaway with Jamie Codd on board at Cheltenham is absolutely fine to have a poke in a race that I don't care about.
He's got a lot to turn around on last year's form. He was beaten probably 40 lengths last year.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm all right with that. Jamie Codd, Lar.
Yeah, Cousin Pascal, I like. Yeah, just on the he walloped Mighty Stowaway when Jamie Codd was on board at Aintree last year.
Aintree, you've got a pretty good record in the Aintree hunter chases, haven't you? From memory.
I had a big price winner that's still keeping me going in profit. It's definitely not a good record. It's just
that counts as a good record, mate. On this
one winner that I'm clinging on to. I wouldn't. He's no price. You can't really rely on him. But Billaway, I've still said if Willie Mullins is targeting the Foxhunter,
he's been targeting it for 2 years with him. And I'm not having that as a tip from you, mate. You're better than that. Just put up Lahon Press again.
Yeah.
But Lahon Press 20 to 1 King George. You can't put up. I'm not letting you put up Billaway in the Foxhunters.
Cousin Pascal each way is my pick. But
excellent. Right, we don't need to hear about Billaway then.
Big pieces will make the difference.
Well, we'll see. Fair play. Okay. Mares Chase. Dun, dun,
LMA
dun.
wins.
I'm just going to say Ellie May, and I've got nothing else to add. Ellie May will win.
Easy peasy.
Ooh, I love Mount Ida and Ellie May, but Dutcham. No one gives Conchitista a chance, do they?
Yeah, I do a little bit. I must admit.
Oh, go on, Paul.
I'm
Hit
on
me.
an island. Well, I mean, it's got. Well, obviously, Ellie May did well last year. I mean, beating Cole Reevy. I mean, that's very good form and tremendous race as well. But Constantine's also got good form on the course. I'm pleased she's going for the chase as opposed to the hurdle. And I mean, obviously, probably lesser fancied of the Mullins. I'll be interested. I think Daryl Jacobs would put me off more than anything else. But apart from that, I think
It'll be surely be Paul Townend, won't it?
Yeah, I think Daryl Jacobs on
you'd like to think so, wouldn't you? But,
Mark Walsh and Ellie May.
Oh yeah,
Townend on Conchitista, and then Jacob on Zambella.
Yeah, that's
Daryl Jacobs already been jocked up on Zambella.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah,
good. That's a relief. So yeah, even more confident.
Yeah, I think I think most people would have thought Conchitista was too short all year, and now that she's third favourite, I think people forget or are just too easy to think, yeah, that's the right, and then they don't fancy her. When you look at it, I mean, 7-2, it is hard. She has got the penalty, hasn't she, as well, compared to others. I think when she was favourite and the other two were second and third favourites, it was really, really easy to be smart about it and fancy the other two and be a bit smug about it. Now that they're priced sort of correctly, if Conchitista wins, I won't be shocked at all.
Well, you just got to pick what you think is the best horse, haven't you? Whereas,
yeah, I think that's
having a value play before.
Yeah, I think the best horse of these is Mount Ida, though. I think Mount Ida is the best horse.
Over 2.5 miles?
No.
That's the kind isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's different. I mean, we're not talking about what I've backed and what my book looks like, are we? We're talking about what I'd back now. I think at second favourite, Mount Ida, 5-2 still is. I just don't fancy the glancing. So Zambella 10-1. I don't like Glancing Queen. Unlikely to run. I don't want to back something to come into third. Ellie May and Mount Ida are so far clear. With Conchitista, those three are so far clear. There's no each way play. So I think I'd back Mount Ida just because of I liked what Gordon had said about learning some new training techniques about making horses faster, working with faster horses. And I think I'd be, although there's barely anything in the price, I don't want to get suckered into thinking Mount Ida's just a stayer. I think if he's trained her better, and to be fair, I'm all in with Gordon this year. I think if he has a massive festival, I'm going to have a massive festival. I'm going to go for Mount Ida to beat Ellie May. I think Ellie May finds her not winning last year against some sort of donkey, some staying donkey that they've now retired. I'm not convinced that's as good a form as they're making it out to be. Like, if Cole Reevy was in this race, what price would she be? Well, she'd be favourite, but I'd be taking her on because she's not that exciting. She wasn't that exciting all the way through. And the fact she won, to me, brings Ellie May's form down. And then Mount Ida beat Ellie May. And there's not a lot between them. And my point when I put it up at the time was Mount Ida was a bigger price than Ellie May. And if you like Ellie May, you can't be against Mount Ida. And I think with Mount Ida being bigger of the two, I would just about go for her, but not aligning at all. I would Dutch those two. 9-4, 5-2. Dutch them both, can't lose.
Next race.
No opinion, eh? Dutch the two favourites at odds on. Next race is, we're going to have to lead with you, Paul, aren't we?
I guess so. So Freedom to Dream is hopefully needs 7 to come out. Hopefully going to get into this race off 1:35, which I think is a good mark for him. We've got Liam Harrison all booked up to ride. He's very keen to ride. He actually sent a text to Peter saying, "Can I ride him, please?" So, and his agent was all over Peter as well. So it's
a very good sign.
It's a very good sign. And I think the horse is going really well. We think he's a better horse than Surprise Package, to be quite honest. So if that's true, then he should be having every chance off 135 here if he gets in. The rest of them, Langerdan, how on earth he got reduced £3 for his run at Taunton makes no sense to me whatsoever. He's been given every chance to beat the Irish by himself. So the last race of the meeting, I think, is geared up for an English winner. Knowing my luck, Miles Harper's going to come and win this race. But, that is the result I most dread. But no, for me, this is all about can I get a horse into the race, and if he does, then I'll be looking only at him. And if he doesn't, then that's when I'm going to start studying it in detail.
Excellent. Now, I put this up on your behalf on the forum, Paul, but it's 368 to 1 still for the double. Surprise Package in the county and Freedom to Dream in the Martin Pipe.
Yeah.
Now, that is a stonking bet. Non-Marino bet.
Yeah.
An absolute stonking bet. Now, if anyone is still listening to this 55 minutes in and doesn't back that, you're getting banned. It's happening. You're gone.
No badge. But everyone that wants a badge has to show the bet.
Either a badge or a ripped envelope. That's it, yeah. Okay, perfect. So, in terms of how well handicapped do you think Freedom to Dream is?
Yeah, I think he's 131 in Ireland, so we only to go up £4, as a relief. You expect to go up 5 or 6. Surprise Package, we went up 6. He's 129 in Ireland before yesterday. So, and he had a little bit of we did some work on his wind after his run at Leopardstown, when Kevin sort of sensed a bit of a noise at the end. Like I say, when they really stretch out, sometimes you can hear that at the end of a race. We've really trained him hard, and we're struggling to get him to really blow hard, and so we've really pushed him quite hard to do that. Went down to Wexford, worked him with in some schooling bumpers. Some of the Bromhead's horses were down there. He finished second behind one I'm not allowed to name, but a good horse. I'm a penalty of death, but we're not supposed to know. That's why. But a good horse is on the bridle. So yeah, we think there's a lot more to.
Are you allowed to say what horse the race was in, or whether it's shorter than 10 to 1 or anything like that?
I can say it's shorter than 4 miles. That's all.
Fair enough. I'll ask you again after, and then just leak it onto the forum.
Okay, fair enough.
Presumably, though, Paul, the jockey had to press the button to go past yours. So there we go.
We started behind. They went off like a bat out of hell. We sat in behind. We just crept closer.
On the snap. Okay, perfect. Okay, amazing. So, despite knowing what wins the race, let's just say things conspire and Freedom to Dream doesn't get in. What would you fancy, Johnny?
Early days. I mean, Langerdan is absolutely obvious.
Let me pause you there. Paul, Langerdan wins this, doesn't he?
If Paul says, because if Paul says a Skelton horse.
But this one I'm all over. This does win. This is a joke, isn't it?
He is ridiculously well in this, isn't he?
Dropped £3.
If you look at last year's race, he ran into Gallopin de Champ, but comes down £3 for this year's race. Clearly, been after for it.
Look at last year's race. Put £2 on him. Take Gallopin de Champ out. What's beating him? Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's an absolute good thing, isn't he?
But it's one of those races, it's a cavalry charge with a lot of amateurs on board, isn't it? So you need a lot of luck in the race. It's not nothing's a certainty in this kind of race, but you do need something that's well handicapped with a bright future. And I like Paul's horse. You know, Paul knows I like his horse because I mentioned it on a previous podcast. I think Freedom to Dream has an outstanding chance, if I'm really honest. And I think if I look at Langadan's setting the benchmark based on last year and being a little bit better off this year, and I try and find the horses that I think can be somewhere around that, I am looking at horses like Freedom to Dream, which is why I mentioned him 3 weeks ago, or 4, whatever it was. I think Paul knows the horse better than I. You know, I make my assessment based on what I see and how I rate horses, and I think, you know, Freedom to Dream is potentially a graded horse, and he gets in off 135, Paul.
Yep.
So if I'm right, there is a lot of leeway in that mark.
Yep.
And they are the only 2 horses I'm interested in the race, by the way.
That is massively, massively disrespectful to the mighty Ginto form. Hollow Games, if he runs here, he wins. He's the best horse in the race.
Yeah,
You're talking about graded horses.
They'll be too quick for him.
Hollow Games has got proper graded form. Like, he's placed in a grade 1 over 2.5. So there'll be 2. I don't know what's going to be too quick for him. I don't know what horses you're expecting to run here. I don't know if like Sir Gerhard's running or something like. We're talking Langadan, fair enough. I'm with you. Stateman, fine. Everyone on the forums on Stateman at bigger prices, no issue there. Hollow Games third in. The notion he's not quick enough is bananas. He's gonna win by 800 lengths.
He's got 1 pace.
Yeah, fast enough to win this.
It's not the right race for him. It's not the right race.
On the old course, on the new course, he'll be staying on Powerfully. I'm amazed you don't like him. Genuinely amazed.
I think he could be running the other
before,
way.
let's rewind. Let's rewind before he met Ginto, and you were talking him up as the better horse between the 2. What's really happened since then? All that's happened is Ginto's proved he's better. It hasn't meant Hollow Games has got worse as a horse. It's just Ginto's improved. Now, Hollow Games has got a massive, massive chance off his rating. And if anyone's watching it, I assume most people will have backed Ginto in the Albert Bartlett and Hollow Games in this no bet, because that's a massive bet. Now, if Ginto doesn't win the Albert Bartlett, fair enough, it takes the whole form down, then Hollow Games isn't worth his rating, brings it all down. But that to me as a double is absolutely massive. And Gordon's other one, Chemical Energy, has been the one he's laid out. I think he's the one that, if all things had gone well, if Kakuna wasn't out, then Ginto would be in the Ballamore, Kakuna would be in the Bartlett, and Chemical Energy would be the one here. But the fact they've moved Hollow Games here isn't just because it means he's got a chance here. It's not. They wouldn't bring him here if they didn't think he was good enough. Like, he's definitely... Chemical Energy might have something up his sleeve, but Hollow Games has already shown he's a better horse. And I think they've got 2 good darts at it. I can't believe he wouldn't fancy Hollow Games. I'm staggered.
There's a couple of reasons why I don't. The first thing is they've hardly been hiding his ability away, so his mark's his mark.
No, but they've said how disappointed they are with him.
There's nothing suggesting that, you know, he's got anything in the hand of his mark, is there?
There is in they've said
the season. So, you know, the race is probably going to be won by someone that's probably more than a stone ahead of its mark. That means
that's not true. That's not true, is it?
That means he's probably going to be something like a 160 hurdle, which he's not.
No, hang on, Paul. There's a stone ahead of its mark, whatever wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
A stone ahead.
How far ahead would you say Galopin de Champ was last year?
Galopin de Champ, a stone ahead, yeah.
Right, and the horse that finished second turn 2 lengths behind has just been dropped £3.
I don't know, not a stone ahead of his mark.
That's got to be
how many? You just said a horse needs to be a stone ahead of its mark. So how many?
Yeah.
A stone ahead.
Close to, yeah.
Right. So how many other horses have won the Pipe? A stone ahead.
So you're going to have horses that are running off 135, for example, Port's horse. That is, in my opinion,
I mean historically, like how many?
In my opinion, is certainly capable potentially capable of running to high 140s. So that puts, if that's true, then he has a stone in hand.
Okay, but
where's getting that from? And
so
if are getting close to
Hollowgate, I don't need to go back that far in our podcast, and I can find you talking up Hollow Games as a Grade 1 winner. So you think he's better than 141? Maybe mid 150s they put him at a stone in hand. 155.
Because Kev's improvement comes for stepping up in trip, doesn't it? That's the point.
But do you not think Hollowgate that like he's gone out of his way? Like people have gone out of their way. Gordon Elliott and I want to say David Russell, but I can't remember. But they've been disappointed with him this season, as if he's not shown how good he is.
Well, given they've not been hiding away his mark, that's not a particularly good sign for a festival, I wouldn't think.
Well, but perhaps not. But we'll see.
There's nothing you said to me that's making me think he's a Martin Pipe winner.
Well, do you not think he can run to his mark though?
But he's running.
But that won't be enough.
And he's just
so if Hollow Games runs to his mark, how many horses do you see running better than it? So Freedom to Dream, agree. Stateman, Langadan, 100% agree. Stateman, 141, who knows? I like Chemical Energy, but like, how many other horses are kicking Hollow Games out of the way?
The Goffer, maybe. O'Fleuron.
Yeah, on both of them, easy.
Grand Jury, if you want to use those lines, Grand Jury's in off 141 and running over his correct trip. There's a whole host of them. That's kind of the point.
And how many of them have got how many of them are placed in Grade 1s?
Assuming they're declared, Kev, because you can end up being right because none of them are declared. But assuming that group of horses we just talked about are declared, which we believe they're intended to be, there's potentially 8 to 10 horses there that we know are well ahead of the mark. So, to what extent, who knows? But the difference is with Hollow Games, he's been trying in those races and got his mark when he's been trying.
Okay, but what you're saying is you don't think he's better than that.
I think he'll end up being at some point, but I don't think he's right now. No.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying anything that makes him any more than the 145 horse. I don't know. I'm not saying what you're saying.
No, well, he's 141. I'm saying he's better than a 141 horse.
Potentially over 3 miles, in my opinion. But he hasn't been better than that so far, has he?
Well, it depends really. Like I think he's worth the 141 because I rate the Lords of Nace for.
He's worth 141 on what he's done.
Yeah, but I think like other horses, like Stateman's got 141. Stateman's got 141. Hollow Games 141. Now one of those is in a Grade 1. The other one's hacking up against nothing. I rate. Or if I had to pick one of those 141s, I'd say the most likely 141 is Hollow Games' 141.
I wouldn't be picking either of them because I wouldn't have Stateman off 141 over 2.5
miles. But that is the point, isn't it? That's the point.
It's running that the improvement comes by them running over the right trip. I don't think there's improvement for Stateman running over further than he wants. I think. So you've got what? So Stateman's just a 2-miler. I suspect so right now, yeah. I think he'll go out and trip over time. Yeah, maybe, but again, I think there's 0 chance of Stateman running over 2.5 miles. Fine, but what I'm saying is that Stateman's a shorter price in this race, and they've got the same rating. Now, to me, one of those has got... Now, of those two, Hollow Games is a much better bet. The point is, they're just both bad bets. I wouldn't back either. Okay, fair enough.
Right, on that note, best bets of the day. I need to back Cheltenham. I want this podcast done.
Good night's sleep.
Hollow Games and Stateman forecast. Yeah, fair enough. Jono, then, best bet of the day.
come back to me. I've got to remember what the
The best bet of the day is 368 to 1. Surprise package, freedom to dream, non-runner, no bet, double. Easy.
Go with that. Or Galvin.
Paul?
I will go with Langadam, but I also agree with you with that as an each-way double. I think it's a really good bet.
Got to be done, right?
One I've done myself already.
Langadam is an absolute smash up. Jono, back to you.
Yeah, go ahead with the Paul Leach double. Vauban probably best bet, and Eric Bloodaxe each way.
Like it. Superb. Right, that's it. I don't know how long it's taken overall. Long time. Are we going to do a bit of a review after? That'll be the next pod, won't it?
I think so.
Happy days.
Should be. Let's
King-
find 3 or 4 winners for next season.
The King George preview podcast.
Yeah.
I'll be on as long as Jinto doesn't win.
If Jinto wins, I'll do my own
I've never
podcast.
had a Fat Jockey solo podcast.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if we went back and looked at the tips that we've put up on these podcasts, I'm pretty sure I'll be ahead. Some of your my Drogo, pathetic. Fernie Hollow, pathetic. I've been so lucky, it's unbelievable. Better to be lucky than good, though, innit, guys?
Absolutely right. Couldn't agree more.
Right, see you later.
Have a great festival.
Cheers,
See you later, bye.
Cheers, guys.